Proper Punters, brought to you by CrossBet. Are you ready to level up your punting game? And hello, welcome back to another week of Proper Punters. We have professional punter Aaron Macey and ex-jockey Glyn Schofield with me. Aaron, how are we?
Mate, can I just say this is a very striking sweater you're rocking.
Well, listen, I thought that Glyn was toning down his style, so I thought I'd tone mine back up. But it looks like
he's gone from the hat and then he's come in the full blood stock agent look.
Well, I thought he was going to rob a petrol station.
But I am a little bit. I am a little bit interested in the jump. You've gone from the jumper here to the trackies to what I call jail shoes in TNs.
Look, it's a little bit of mix of class and Adelaide, in my opinion. I think it works quite well.
Fair enough.
Now,
let's
move
along.
Yeah.
Let's go through your week last week. So,
are we gonna? Is it a good or a bad one?
What's happened here?
So we've had a third, we've had a second.
Yeah, but you know what? There were a few horses in there that I said these horses, and a couple of them won. I can't remember what they were, but there were a few horses that I mentioned that did win.
Well,
so
listen, we haven't had a first in 2 weeks.
In what? Oh, in the.
On the call winners.
Just in your
call winners.
Oh well, I know what this is called. It's the good old Owen hat.
I want to dive in here. I'm gonna step in for my little compadre over here. One thing I said last week is heavy tracks. I don't like betting on them. All week we've had heavy tracks since. Tomorrow, it's going to be a soft 6, and I'm going to call it a good track. Hopefully it gets to a 5. Betting on heavy tracks, it's taken me a long time to realise it, and I can be a bit of a slow learner. Betting on heavy is no good. Stake right down. If you must bet on heavy tracks, have minimal bets and bet down. They are no good. To try and win at the game is hard enough as it is. Wait for dry tracks and stay there. My man Glyn's going to bounce back this week. If not, he might be in the hat. But I do think we're getting back to drier weather.
Yeah.
And you know yourself, like Glyn, when you were riding, the difference between being... Like some horses, as we said, will handle a Kenzo heavy track, but they won't handle a Warwick Farm heavy track.
Yeah, that's the problem I think we've got in New South Wales especially, is our heavy tracks are not consistent across all the tracks. So there's different varying degrees of depth. I mean, the Kenzo track, a heavy track at Gosford, they get in a little bit.
Like what about that Newcastle track?
Newcastle track was just... almost a perfect surface.
It's like a dead 5.
Yeah. And then Randwick and Rosehill, when they get heavy, they're really wet. And then Warwick Farm's just the next level heavy. So
it's completely.
Right, they are different.
And so in saying that, it's very hard to put a thing. This horse handles heavy. This horse handles. You just don't know. Too many rough results.
Are we expecting heavy or dry this week? Is it raining this weekend?
I said Les. I just said it's currently a 6, and I'm hoping it gets to a 5.
Okay, right.
That means it's just about perfect.
Yeah.
5's about the perfect.
Perfect.
Sorry, learning.
Perfect. Exactly. It's still learning. Take it. Be gentle on me.
I'm offended by the shoes.
No comment. Aaron, though, you did get a first, obviously, Scarlet Oak winning last week.
She is a horse to follow and a horse on the rise. And she is a horse that does handle
Definitely.
Wet tracks. I'm going to say wet. I'm not going to say heavy, but she can handle the sting out of the ground. And she went through it like God. Her acceleration was just exceptional.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, it was a bit of a disaster though.
All right, well, let's get straight into the Doomben 10,000. A horse we've mentioned a few times on the podcast, I Wish I Win, obviously in this race, and it is the favourite in what is a pretty stacked race, obviously with a few nice horses in this one. What direction are we going with here? Glyn, I'll start with you, mate.
Well, look, on paper, there's 9 runners. There's a speed bump in the race that's 150 to 1. And if you're riding in this race, that's at all costs you avoid that horse. I Wish I Win looks by far the hardest.
Let's go back to Body Bob. How much are the tickets for Doomben 10,000 days? Someone just trying to get tickets to the enclosure?
I don't know. But look, what is going to happen is it's probably going to lead. I Wish I Win has got drawn his worst barrier in barrier 1. Remember when he ran in the TJ, I think he drew barrier 1 and he was given a perfect ride and he ran second?
He ran second.
So in a small field,
of 12.
there's going to be some jockeying for McDonald to get off the fence and make sure he gets into clean air, because Doomben's a short little run in. You come down the hill at the corner, and if you haven't got that momentum, and there's one with a bit of quality, and there's a couple with good quality in this race, he may find he may find it difficult to catch something that's off and gone if he can't get off the fence. But I'm tipping that J-Mac will be able to get him off the fence, and I'm going with I Wish I Win.
You going the same, Aaron?
I think I don't want to say he's one of the better bets of the day because at the price, I think the market's got him correct, but I just think he is by far the best horse in the race. I think Private Eye, even though he was pretty impressive, probably 6 months ago, even first up, he was pretty solid against Imperatrice. I just think he might be starting to taper off now. Should probably never say that about a Joe Pride horse, but I just think he's had a really funny preparation, so I kind of want to put the line through Private Eye. Mazu returned to form on the heavy track. Bella Nipotina, probably Rough Hope. Espiona, you never like her drawn wide when she's going this way of going. I think different story, Melbourne, but I think he's the best horse. He just needs to get off the fence. I think he will. I think he'll get the right run. As long as he handles Doomben. Moody's been good at taking horses to Queensland in the past.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. If I'm riding in the race, the one thing I'm going to make sure is if I pop out 3 wide, I'm going to make an earlier move, and I'm going to make sure that J-Mac's got very little room to get off the fence. Could be a very tactical race. I know Nash is on Espiona. She'll be spotting them to start as well. He's drawn wide, so he's going to make sure that he's going to hold them really neat and tight to give J-Mac as little room as possible, because Nash is one of the smartest doing that sort of thing. So, look, even money it's a bit short. He's the best horse in the race. He should win, but it could be a bit tricky.
Yeah, Moody does have another horse in this race, Chain of Lightning.
Yeah, well, she's a TJ winner.
Yeah.
So look, as I said, there is other quality in the race. It's not as if he's on his own.
I think he's the best horse. I think he'll win.
Right, there we go.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Well, let's go then to Scone. We'll start with race 6, the Yarraman Park Denise Joy Stakes.
Yarraman?
Yep, lovely. Still learning. Ballroom Bella has a solid top 3 record at the moment, 77.78%. However, friend of the show, Rachel King, obviously rides the favourite here with Springley. Now, obviously, Glyn, you're a big fan of Ballroom Bella.
I am. The barrier concerns me a bit. Big weight, wide barrier. Looks to be loads of speed. Gay's got a few horses in the race. So the race is going to be run genuinely. But Ballroom Bella does have, I think the best credentials. She's the highest rated horse in the race. That's why she's got the biggest weight. Commemorative really has had its foot in the till or hoof on the till last couple. It's actually drawn wider than Ballroom Bella. But it looks like it could end up tagging Ballroom Bella in the run. There'll be sort of Scone's a funny track because it can be a really supers track at times, and it can if Friday will be a sort of telltale how the track plays, and if it's got a bit of cutting it on Friday and they dig it up a bit, it could very possibly be a bit of a swoopers track on the Saturday. But I think Ballroom Bella does look hard to beat. Commemorative is probably the danger for me, and of course Rachel on what is it called? Springley. Certainly sprung back to some really good form first up, and Baker and Rachel have a good relationship. So it's drawn middle, so it gets a nice run from the barrier.
Yeah, Mace.
I have to say Scone is probably one of my favourite places to bet. Obviously Saturday, it doesn't hold Saturday racing, but love provincial racing. Scone, as Glyn said, big track. Can play on pace when it is fast and hard, which it definitely won't be. As Glyn said, once again, you will be watching the races Friday. I'm pretty keen on the Friday card. Scone Carnival is probably one of my favourite weekends of the year for betting. I tend to really like it, so I'm hoping it does keep drying out and we race relatively fair. I do like when it's a swooperish track because I find the horses, when it gets to that swooperish track, I think a lot of the time the best horses win, and it suits the way that I like to do form. In saying that, I concede Springley, very good chance. I thought a win first up was really good. She trialled well before that. She's amongst the chances. I want to go with a 2-bet play. I'm probably going to equal stake 2 horses. One of them being Martini Mama. I know she only won a highway last start, but she did it with audacity. I thought,
Gee, the last 100 meters of her win was just
breathtaking.
Just put him away.
And she's won her last three. Like, she's a horse clearly on the up. And one thing I give a lot of credit to with Matty Dale, he's really good at placing his horses, and he's good at working them through the grades. Like, he will get every inch out of. She's gone from winning the maiden to a benchmark 58, and then he's found a highway, which he loves circling, great prize money. And this is obviously her toughest test today, but I think she's well equipped. It'll be interesting to see how the track is playing and where Dylan Gibbons gets from barrier 2, but she'll obviously be close enough and just be tucked in following the leading bunch. The other horse that I'll be equal staking with is a horse called Commemorative. We actually made note of, I think about 4 weeks ago, that we thought the blue horses, being the Godolphin horses, were on the comeback and starting to show good form. She's been racing in better form races than a lot of these, a bit like Ballroom Bella. She comes out of group quality. She kind of promised to be a really good horse early on. Her win first up was really good. Her run behind Facile, I thought, was certainly a pass mark, and I think this race is easier than that. And I think getting to the big Scone track will suit her, and drawn 14 will actually suit her. She's 3 wide with cover. I think she'll be finishing off nicely. I think big track will suit her big time. Love the trial between runs. A little bit keen on the race, but can see there's definitely some chances, like the favourite in Spring Lee and Ballroom Bella and a couple of others.
Perfect. Well, let's move then to race 7, Emirates Park Hortensia.
Just when I thought you were going to get there, Hortensia.
Hortensia, perfect.
We can make a game out of this.
English, not my first language. Insurrection is the favourite in this race with a current 35% win rate. Tied favourite is Opal Ridge with a 37.5 win rate. Who are we thinking there out of those two, Glyn?
Well, Insurrection's been trialling the house down. Absolutely trialling the house down. Draws soft, big weight. No worries about the fitness on this horse. Opal Ridge, last prep sort of like flopped a bit. It was favourite for the Kosciuszko, I think, and Full Page beat it, I think. So look, if it comes, it's had a spells, comes back. But there's a horse I like, Extravagant Star. Ran on a heavy track last start in the Hawkesbury Rush, and ran behind Paracel, who's either in here or going down to...
it's not running here. It's running in Queensland.
Okay, it's running in Queensland. Of course, you've got Baller and Bella in this race as well, drawn a lot better. So I think Extravagant Stars had 2 runs on heavy ground for 2 unplaced runs. Comes back to a very soft barrier in 2. It's got low weight with 53 kilos. I'm tipping this horse is going to be very, very hard to beat. I like Extravagant Star over possibly Insurrection.
Okay.
Yep. What are we thinking, Aaron?
Well, I've gone different. Right? Like, one thing I will say, so more so on the Saturday, I think I can highlight a few horses on Friday. But there's a few horses I've been interested to back next start, and there's probably 3 of them here, and I can see 2 of his chances are good chances. So not probably the best betting race, but I'll start off with Iona Merck. I was so taken with this horse's barrier trial. She's been a horse that's promised to keep going to that next level. Her win over Kibu was really good about 5 starts ago. Her first up run last prep, when she ran second to Quick Turbo, was another good run. I love her down on the weights. I think she races really best when she is down in the weights and doesn't carry too much, because she's not an overly big sort of a mare. He's not an overly big sort of a gelding, but I just absolutely love this horse's barrier trial. I think there's decent pace in the race he's going to get, and he's just going to be flashing, hitting the line. The other horse I want to make mention of that I'm probably going to equal stake with is Spacewalk. Few people were tipping him first up to Paracel.
That was me.
Yes, you were tipping the Paracel. But it wasn't just you. There was a fair few people were quite intrigued. I kind of wanted to be away from him first up, was more inclined to be backing him second up. I think the Scone track will suit him a lot better.
Don't forget, he did get held up at a vital stage.
He did get held up. Yeah, I still don't think.
He maybe wouldn't have won it, but
I don't think he would have won it, but he definitely should have finished closer. I definitely think he should have finished closer. I think he's more set for this race. Strip's fitter. Yeah, I've got him equal top pick with Aaron Macey, and I've got a lot of respect for Opal Ridge.
Well,
flies first up, trial super, unbeaten at the track. Hasn't won for a while, as Glyn said, but also comes back in grade here compared to what she's probably raced of recent.
There has been a little update in the CrossBet markets. Iron Merc is now the tied favourite with Opal Ridge.
Yeah,
there you go. Two very looked at horses going into this one.
Yeah.
Race 8, the Coolmore Dark Jewel Classic. Beautiful. English is back. Shadows of Love is the favourite in this one. However, Fall for Cindy is a horse suited to the 1400 distance with 3 wins, 1 second and 1/3 in her last 7 starts. That distance. Mace, I'll start with you this time. What are we thinking?
This race, it's a tricky one. I think there's a horse that's clear top pick. She's weighted correctly. She's drawn relatively wide, but I think if she can get in that 3 wide running line and can finish off, it's Ruthless Dame. She's a genuine Group 1/Group 2 horse, where I think the rest of this field is more listed to Group 3. She's around the $6 mark. I think as an each way play, I'd be surprised. I wouldn't say I'd be surprised to see her miss a place because, but I think she is the clear top pick. I think her runs have been solid. Like, she's been beaten 1.4 to Zugotcha. If Zugotcha was in this race, she wins. And I think if you look at anything under her, you can just about make a case for a lot of them. It's one of those tricky fillies and mares races. I'm circling her out. She's the only way I want to go in this race.
Yeah, Glyn?
Yeah, I can't disagree. You take Ruthless Dame out, and you could throw a net over a lot of them. It's a really wide open race outside of her. You obviously got to. I think Shadows of Love. I've tipped it. Maybe it's last twice. I was really keen on it. I love the fact Tommy Berry jumps back on. Ganati's a horse that has flattered in the past, but Fall for Cindy, it's got some decent form. It's third up. It's rock hard fits, down the weights. It's drawn soft. Got to like that. So, if the track's probably playing a little bit leaderish or on speed and close to the fence, you probably got to include her. But, I'm with Aaron. I think Ruthless Dame, outside of barrier 15, 61 kilos makes it hard.
In saying that, though, they could be coming down that outside fence by
if
this
they
time
are,
of the
then
day.
Jason Collett books. He's a really patient rider. Sometimes he'll go for runs that he'll go searching for runs and he doesn't get there, and other times he looks like he's just read the race like it's been a book. So I'm tipping Jason will navigate the right path and get Ruthless Dame home.
I think a big, really important thing, and Glyn, with riding like these 2-day carnivals, and you would hope that a lot of jockeys, and I don't think enough jockeys do it well, is watch the bias change throughout those 2 days, because a lot of the time it can start being on pace early into the inside, and then it works its way out.
Well, interestingly,
and then sometimes it can be overridden. And
correct. Well, interestingly, what used to happen is they used to leave the rail in the same place for both days.
Yeah,
and then if you had a little bit of a cut in the track for the Friday meeting, the Saturday meeting was just full of holes.
Yeah.
And then the wider you got, the better it was.
Yeah.
Now they're starting to move the rail. I think they've moved the rail both days.
Yeah.
I haven't checked that, but if they move the rail both days, which I think they normally do, it gives the inside pad and the horses on the inside a bit more of a chance. A bit more of a chance as well, rather than just being in a ploughed field. So, but having said that, Scone is a track that's really wide. It's probably one of the fairest tracks we've got in New South Wales. Pretty not dissimilar to Sunshine Coast, which is also a great track. It'll give every horse its chance. They're coming out those sprint races. They're coming out of the chute. They got a nice long run to the first corner if they're running over 7 furlongs or a mile or longer. So it's very, very fair.
Yeah. There's one other horse I will mention outside. It's probably going to be out 21. If they are coming down that outside fence, it's French Endeavour, Matthew Smith train. Rachel King raced against the boys last start behind Schwartz, was doing her best work late through at filly down the weights. She could run a really cheeky race. Maddie Smith, good trainer.
Rachel King's got some really good horses in the next few races.
I think I said last week she's had a bit of a quiet run. She's normally like in the thick of everything.
Yeah.
I think her trip, I think I might have just said it last week, her trip away to Japan for 6 or 8 weeks, however long she was there before the carnival, just gave her no momentum going into it. But you're right, she's got some decent rides. I think Iona Merck was one that you fancied. I think she's on a filly that I liked as well. So
Brilliant rider when she's on.
yeah.
When I was doing the research last night, she had 2 favourites at that stage. Obviously, the markets have changed a little bit since then, but yeah, she's got
She's
some
got a
great
handful of
horses.
decent rides, yeah, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely.
Perfect. All right, well, let's go into our best bets. I'll start with you. What's your multi for this week, Glyn?
My multi,
Your
Yeah,
three
what are your
bets.
three
yeah,
best bets?
starting Scone race 3, number 1, and the 2-year-old race, and that's Talk. I really like the way this horse, Gay Waterhouse horse, won. 2-year-old race, as I said, I think there's still room for improvement, and Gay and Adrian. I think if all these 2-year-olds that they've got turn into good 3-year-olds, we watch out for them next year because they'll be winning just about everything. And then I'm going to go to Doomben, race 8, number 1, hoping that J-Mac can weave his magic and get I Wish I Went Off the Fence when it needs to get off. And he's the end of my selections for the weekend.
Perfect. Aaron, what have you got?
I'm kicking off with Scone, race 4, number 8, Unusual Legacy. This was a horse that I think it's first start in Australia or second. Nash rode it, got caught up on the inside and was an absolute tragedy. He then came out, won his next start when he found room. Last start, Aiming McLucas did the exact same thing. He got caught on the inside. He's a real rangy sort of a stayer. He needs time to build his revs. It was an absolute trage. I think he's drawn a little bit wider, gets a big jockey change, and I think will be extremely hard to beat. Next is race 7, number 15, also at Scone, Iona Merck, trialling exceptionally well. Rachel King aboard, down in the Wades. Think he will be flashing home and doing his best work late. Off to Doomben, race 7, number 1. Paracel got the chockies for us last start, drawn really well again. J-Max aboard, looks to get the right run. I think will take a lot of beating, should be suited at Doomben. And we're going to finish off the day with what hopefully should be a moral in I Wish I Win, race 8, number 1. I think he's the best horse, just needs to get off from barrier 1 and should just be too good for them late.
Perfect. Well, you can get access all of those bets on CrossBet. Make sure to download the CrossBet app. I'll throw to Mace quickly to give us our Friday fill-up.
Yes, returning for the Friday fill-up. It's been away for a while just due to a bit of average Friday racing. We're going to Scone tomorrow or today when you're watching. Race 3, number 1, Wembanyana. Was declaring it last start. Got a little bit lost. I don't think it was the best ride, but might have been a little bit of the horse coming out. We'll put a little bit of bad luck to it. Love the way he still finished off. Gets the blinkers applied tomorrow. Just the way he got wobbled a little bit in the straight. I think we'll be a lot more focused. I think we'll get the job done.
Like that, named after Victor Wembanyama. Perfect stuff. All right, CrossBet. Obviously, all of these bets are under CrossBet, so make sure you go and download the CrossBet app. You go to the BTFU hub. You can access all of those bets there. If you missed the footy show, my best bet was the Broncos, the Bulldogs, and the Panthers to get the job done on the weekend. $2.50. Playing it safe after obviously losing last week's multi due to the Rabbitohs being in some pretty poor form at the moment. So won't make that mistake again. Hopefully we get up lucky this time. Lads, great to have you on for another week.
Great stuff.
And hopefully with some dry racing, we can come up with some return to form.
What are you prepared to lose today? Set a deposit limit. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.